So this is a reply to Billy Bong's video, When Will Religion End? To start, Mr. Bong, you keep bringing up that religion is the problem with the violence in this world. But you're not really going into detail about that. And see, the problem with that is, the reason why I bring it up is, it's false. It's a completely false statement. People don't need religion to do violent things. People use religion to do violent things, but they don't need it to. You have many gangs across the world that do hideous and horrible things in the name of their gang. You have gigantic movements that have happened throughout time that have killed so many in the name of some dictator. I believe there was this communist country that killed millions, and they were not of a particular religion. In fact, I think they were I mean, I should have done research in this as well, but Genghis Khan, was he on a Christian mission when he did what he did? You know, I don't think Pol Pot was. I'm not sure, but I don't think he was on a religious mission. I mean, you know, you can't blame religion, my friend. And you'll never get rid of religion. Ever. It's quite obvious. And if I put my Christian beliefs aside, it's quite obvious that the human nature, on average, needs something like religion to believe in. You may not have that feeling you need that, but the majority of people do, and they don't have a hard time creating their own when they don't have one. It's very easy to just blame religion in a blanket way like that, but it's wrong. And it's anti-intellectual. You see, you look at the old lady, the little grandma. Little grandma doesn't have much going for her. She doesn't have many powers in this world. She's worried about her grandchildren. So what does she do? She prays. She prays, and it gives her a sense of happiness. And you might say, well, you know, praying, that's actually harming our nation, because people are more likely to pray than actually get up and do something. And to a large degree, I agree with you. Except for the little old lady that can't do anything. For the little slave girl somewhere in the Middle East that has absolutely no control over her circumstance. And so you say, well, you know, that's all good and well, but religion harms. But you know what? No, people harm. People are harming all over this world. And you say, yeah, but religion controls, and it takes our freedoms away. Well, no. Again, people do that. Sometimes people do that in the name of religion, but they don't need a religion to do that. And getting rid of religion isn't going to stop that. And again, you're not going to ever get rid of religion. It is in our basic need. And anytime they've ever tried to squash religion, it's just gone underground and grown. You see, we're in cycles. We are in a constant loop. We are repeating ourselves over and over and over again. And so, you know, right now we're coming out of a time of the Christians ruling. And we're going into a time, God help us, hopefully not, of the Muslims ruling. I don't know. Maybe the atheists will rise up and they will rule. But don't think that you're going to gain some kind of utopia if the atheists rule. You know that's not true, but you haven't thought that far through it because you just want religion to be wrong. And I understand why. I understand there's a lot of snobby asshole Christians out there that have done a lot to be a thorn in your ass. But if it wasn't them, if they didn't have Christianity to allow, you know, to hide behind while being assholes, they'd have something else to hide behind to be assholes. Like the PTA mom who's an asshole because she's the head PTA mom. You see, it's human nature, and it's not religion that's causing these things. So you claim the way you defeat religion is to mock and shame the religious, but you'll just cause more of a divide. You're not going to do anything with that. And you know, this right here, I'm gonna say something that's gonna be quite explosive, I'm sure. But evolution isn't proven. It's a theory. It's a theory. You cannot tell me where matter came from. If you take it to the basic, if you take it to the beginnings of your belief system, you don't have the answers either. But let me further on that for all those that are, how dare you not believe in evolution? You know, there are plenty of scientists that don't believe in evolution, but I digress. That's a topic for a different video. Let me just tell you, there are plenty of religious people that believe God used evolution to create all we have. So the theory of evolution doesn't disprove there's a God. I mean, actually, if you want to talk about scientific discoveries and just basing your whole religious system on what these scientists say, many scientists are starting to believe that aliens created this. And yes, it is becoming a pervasive belief in our society. Of course, they don't say who created the aliens that created us. So, I mean, honestly, if you're just going to mock and shame Christians, then you're becoming the asshole you claim the Christians are. It'd be great if we can come to a society where everyone just leaves everyone else the fuck alone and allows them to believe whatever they want to believe. It reminds me of that South Park episode where they got rid of religion. And so then what happened? You had the two different groups of evolution theories, the two different groups that believed in opposing theories, and it was something stupid. And the whole point of that show, that episode, was to prove human nature is going to do this anyways. So you make the claim that the way to combat it is to get people over their fear of death, that's the reason why we have religion. But that's not actually accurate at all. Sure, maybe some are led to believe because of their fear of death, but a lot of Christians, a lot of Buddhists, a lot of Mormons and Muslims and you know, other religious types don't believe in their religion because they fear death. They believe in their religion because they've had an experience, or because intellectually they were brought there. My father, he was an atheist. He was an atheist until, while in prison, he was reading up on scripture and this and that, and he found everything that the Jewish people had been through, and how, like the prophecy said, they'd be dispersed throughout all the land, and they'd be brought back. And then he read up on some of the wars that Israel had since they became a nation again. And there's some incredible accounts that happened. And you know, if you're a Christian, you believe that God has his hand on Israel for a purpose, and that's why they've maintained their identity even after being sifted through all of the nations. So you see, my dad, he's not emotional thinking. He's very intellectual thinking. And he was led to the belief based on intellectual reasoning. You know, same with creation. A lot of people want to bash creationists, but not many know actually what we believe. You see, it's a cheap insult to make these claims as to assuming why we believe what we believe. A lot of scientists have come to the conclusion that the Bible is real, or that God actually exists, through science, through just following the evidence where it goes. Let me give you an example. I guess it recently came out regarding mitochondrial DNA. They've been able to trace it back to 3 women. Now, mitochondrial DNA is DNA that goes specifically through the woman's line, right? So they traced it back to 3 women. And if you're a creationist, if you're a Bible believer, you think Noah's 3 daughters-in-law. That's who it was. Funneled through those 3, right? But that's not the only thing. See, a lot of people don't know what creationists believe. We believe in DNA. We believe in science. We love science. You see, a lot of the things you guys look at as evidence to support your beliefs, we believe they support our beliefs. It's all a matter of how you look at it. And it's all a theory. Not one group is absolutely correct. Well, I mean, no, sorry, that was retarded. One group is correct, but no one can show with absolute certainty to prove to the other. It's still all theory. It's still all us doing the best we can to examine the evidence and come to the conclusion. I don't know if you've ever heard of the documentary, A Case for Christ. This was an atheist. Oh, he was a die-hard atheist. And he was so pissed because his wife, who was also an atheist, shut up, go play. My dog. His wife was also an atheist. She got saved. Oh, and it made him so mad. Because, he is a die-hard atheist, and so was she. And now she's going to church. Like, she didn't bug him with it, but he didn't like that she was going to these groups. And just, it changed her. And he was so angry about it. So he decided he was going to take his skills. I guess he was like a detective. He used to, assess, crimes or something like that. So he decided he was going to really investigate it. He was going to put it to rest once and for all. And as he examined the evidence, he came to know Christ. And he got saved. And he's produced many DVDs since then about it. One of the evidences that people don't think about is when you have the Gospels. You look at the Gospels and you see that there are these four different accounts. And they're a bit different. They're a bit different in their view of the things that happened. He said, I looked at that, and he said he was shocked. Because, let's say you have a car accident. The first thing you want to do is you want to get all the people that saw it, and you take them apart from each other, and then you interview them and ask them what happened. And the reason you do that is you want to get them apart before they can collaborate their stories. Because if their stories match up perfectly, something's suspicious there. Because you see, naturally, everyone's going to see it from a little bit of a different angle, from a different perspective. You want to check out more about The Case for Christ, it's an excellent documentary. So, no, people don't believe because they fear death. That is a cheap insult. You could do better, Billy Bong. You could do better than that. I agree with you, by the way. The idea of just not existing is terrifying. For some reason. Just the idea that, poof, no longer will we remember things or feel things or the idea of our world coming to an end one day, which I say will happen millions of years from now. The idea of that, and no one will ever know who we are, just seems so preposterous to me. Seems so depressing. Like nothing really matters. But I look at humans, and we're unlike anything else. We're unlike anything else. We're not like animals. You see, animals don't have the same kind of cares and concerns that humans display. They can't look at the earth and decide, you know what, this is harming the earth, so let's make these changes and help protect it. It seems like it's not only in our ability, but it's in our desire to be like a gardener to the earth. And yeah, sure, lots of people fuck up the earth. I know. But there are others that want to try to protect it and preserve it. People have the ability to assess their own nature. Animals can't do that. They don't think I'm a dog and this is my life and then get depressed. They think, when is my owner coming home? When's my owner coming home? And then when their owner's coming home, they think, when am I going to go on my walk? When am I going to go on my walk? Like, they're not. There's a difference. There's a difference between people and animals. Animals don't fear death. Have you ever seen an animal die? I've seen birds that got picked off by a cat and then saw it slowly die in my front yard. I've seen a cat die. I had to be there when we put my cat down. She was too old. You could see it in their eyes. They don't understand what's happening to them. It's fucking sad. It's fucking sad. They don't get it. They don't know why all of a sudden they can't breathe. Whereas humans, we can kind of assess, well, shit, that's the end for me. So you say, you don't care that you're afraid of it. It's the truth. but you don't have any proof that that's the truth. You're just making claims. You see, the nature is the same. The nature is the same no matter what group you look at. You look at the Christians, if you look at the atheists, fundamental evangelical atheists are just the same as evangelical Christians. You say, no, it is true, but then don't actually have any facts to back it up. You're just going to believe it, and you're going to shame the other side, just like the evangelical Christians do. You guys are one and the same. You're the opposite end of the same coin. So this is something that I find myself repeating a lot when I'm talking to atheists. Just because you make a statement doesn't mean it's true. Just because you say God doesn't exist doesn't mean he does. Just because I say God does exist doesn't mean he does. Both sides. Both sides. So if you're going to want to bring down religion, don't make these cheap little statements. Get into a real conversation about it. Get into actual what you perceive as proofs for it. Because right now you're just stating your opinion, the way you feel. You say then you'd rather, live what you would consider the truth than live a lie, just to feel good about yourself. Well, the fact is, unfortunately, a lot of the religious don't feel good about themselves. They don't feel good about the situation. And it depends on which religion you look at. A lot of religions believe in flogging themselves or going without, sacrificing things for themselves to believe what they believed. People die in horrible ways for their religion. You know that? Places in Asia, places in the Middle East, and even today, women have seen their children be run over by cars. They've been having their throats slit. They died in horrific and painful ways and would not give up their religion to death. Not because it made them feel better about themselves, it's because what they believed. You say we don't want anything to be fake in our life except for this, what you'd call fake religion, but again, that statement's so false. We love fake. We love fake. We're fake all the time. I mean, if we weren't, we wouldn't give a shit so much about celebrities. We have cheap lives we live. Fake, void relationships. People love fake beyond their religion. And again, you restate, if you want Islam to end and you want the destruction to end, you got to get people to stop believing in religion. And that's not true. You're not going to create a utopia society. You see, that's the problem that the SJWs have. They're trying to create this utopia, but you're not going to do it because human nature is flawed. I believe it's flawed because of the curse. And that's a topic for another video in which I am happy to go into, but not right now because this video is already way too long. Again, there are gangs that are killing people, not because of their religion, but because of power, because of lust, because whatever, because all kinds of reasons. You will always have this. And you're going to propose something right now that's just going to cause more destruction, chaos, and division. Just like the creationists do. Just like the Christians do. You're just doing the same thing. We're in cycles. The best thing we can do is just let people believe what they believe. Fucking freedom. And I know you're saying, well, I'm not saying we should create laws. Well, first of all, you go down that road. Don't think someone's not going to pop up in your camp that is going to state that. But also, by just saying, let's offend them. Let's call them names. Let's insult them. Let's let them be embarrassed about what they believe. You don't get human nature. First of all, you're taking entirely too much stock in how you perceive others will be affected by your opinions. If you shame people, atheist community, they're just going to think you're assholes. It's not going to convince them of anything. You're going to seclude yourself from the rest of society. You know, or let's say you guys wind up getting the majority. Still, it won't do anything. People aren't going to be convinced because you shamed them. They'll go underground for a while. And, you know, people rise up. Like I said, it's fucking cycles. It's just cycles. Just be on the right side of history if you're going to, while we're in these cycles, these circles over and over and over again. So I got about 5 minutes into your video, and I realized that my video is now 20 minutes. So I'm going to wrap it up. And I'm pretty sure I just covered all the bases there. I love all your other videos. You probably don't give a fuck, but I do. So anyways, have a good day.